Welcome back to Too Tired. I'm Christian.
And I'm Livy.
Today we are joined by Tyler Aalsburg and Steve Liao, who are home cooks. Hello, guys.
Hi.
How's it going?
So we know Steve and Tyler both. I know Steve personally, and so does Libby, and then Tyler is Steve's girlfriend. So you guys are home cooks, meaning you do not do that professionally. You both work in completely different fields. Steve, you're in physical therapy. Tyler, you're in manufacturing. And unlike most of our episodes, you are not creatives. And because of that...
As your profession.
Correct.
Right.
Your profession is not creative. So we're talking all about food and cooking today because that is your creative outlet, completely away from your boring, non-creative jobs. Do you guys want to give us a little bit of background of who you are and maybe...
Some background into how we got interested in cooking, maybe.
There you
Sure.
go.
Or how you guys met.
I'll let you start because
So we met on Tinder, and actually, I would probably say I stole his heart with cooking. So maybe.
Yeah, I would agree.
He's like, no, not at all.
I don't even know who you are. Get out of my apartment.
My apartment.
So I got a lot of my cooking background interests just from my parents and being in the kitchen with my parents and having nothing else to do pretty much. And so I would get in there and help them and learn. My mom especially, I guess all of my family did a lot of intuitive cooking. So not following recipes. It's just throwing this here and throwing that there and just watching a bunch of Food Network and pretty much just knowing how to make things without needing a recipe. And so that's pretty interesting to most people, especially Steve, because he's just how did you make this? And I'm like, I don't know. I just found everything in the fridge and then threw it all together.
I wish I could do that.
Yeah.
I honestly, before I met Tyler, I struggled to boil water or anything instant.
Yeah, he burnt water.
I set the apartment fire alarm off a few times, just boiling stuff or putting
Making
something in the
Easy
oven
Mac.
too
Well,
long.
I set toast on fire tonight.
Yeah,
So
it happens.
yeah.
But I think with my background, I didn't really have much of a background myself. My parents were part of a local restaurant in Fort Dodge called the Sea Dragon, but that closed and was out of business before I was even born. But a lot of local Fort Dodge people know of it. But obviously being of Oriental background, my parents did a lot of Chinese cooking. And I always did have an interest in it because it was such a big part of the cultural thing in my family on both sides, really. But growing up, my parents wouldn't let me in the kitchen because it wasn't that big of a kitchen. And my mom just shooed me away because I didn't know what the hell I was doing.
More of a hassle than a help.
She's like, you're not going to burn this water.
Mhm.
But at a young age, I could tell what tasted good and what didn't. Like my mom ruined turkey for me at a young age because she would always overcook and she couldn't bake. So I was just eating dry turkey every Thanksgiving. Yeah. I think my first actual introduction to cooking, though, was my first job. I applied to Hy-Vee. It's kind of a funny story. I don't think you know it, but
Hy-Vee
yeah.
Chinese.
So when I called for a job interview, I talked to the HR of Hy-Vee at the time. I was 16. It was my first job, and she goes, "Oh, okay. What's your name?" I said, "Steve Liao." She's like, "Oh, Steve Liao." She's like, "We got an opening in Hy-Vee Chinese department." And I was thinking, out of all the positions, checking, bagging, heck, even Cheese Island, I got thrown into Hai Chai. But from there, I kind of slowly started to learn how to just prep veggies. They didn't let you cook until you were 18, but that was kind of my basics. Up until I met Tyler, I didn't really know how to put things together, really. So a lot of my knowledge up until then, which is only about 3 years ago, I guess my inspiration initially was just watching food shows Gordon Ramsay, and I learned really fast. You don't learn how to cook watching that. It's entertaining and dramatic, but
yeah, for
it's
sure.
so rushed. And
Well, he's talking about MasterChef.
I watch it all.
That's not let's make a recipe together for dinner with your family.
Right.
That's
Yeah, it
full
makes
on
you
competition.
want to cook though.
Same with
yeah,
chopped.
oh yeah, it's a good intro. To
Yeah,
cooking.
I got hooked on all those baking shows, and then I went and bought all the stuff to like make fancy cupcakes and never touched it.
Yeah.
Like, that's what it does to me.
So, Steve, I know you from your older brother. I can think back to hanging out at the tennis courts and playing your brother kind of in our friend group, and you sitting on the bleachers and him yelling at you like, Steve, go home. Like, just being the annoying little brother. And I was just like, dude, like, he's fine. He can hang out and watch. What's the problem? And now I hang out and talk to you way more than your brother because he moved away and is dead to me. And not literally. Okay. And Tyler, we met you one time. I know Steve brought you over to our house. We had just moved here, and I think we just got maybe Mosby, and I don't know if we had the second dog yet. I don't think it was Murphy, but
it was a while ago.
And Libby was pregnant.
Oh.
Was I?
Yep.
So we did have both dogs.
We did have both.
Really early on.
No, it wasn't.
No?
It was,
I think it was.
God, that seems like forever ago.
I want to say, was it maybe wintertime?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we just came basketball. Over and played games and
David had just come back from his trip to Korea, and you brought over like pickled squid or something that smelled so bad.
Oh yeah,
and we were eating a bunch of. Like,
I don't remember being pregnant then, but I might have been. I don't know.
Maybe.
Whatever.
I want to say you tried it too. You were just like,
I know I didn't.
Yeah, I don't know if I did.
And you had some. I think you had like different candy or something.
Yeah, lychee gummies and stuff. But maybe it was when David came with you.
Familiar.
Other than that, we haven't really got to hang out with you guys very much, like as a couple. And I think we've obviously crossed paths in that time, but it's been for weddings and stuff. And then COVID happened and we had a baby, and hopefully that changes because we'd love to hang out with you guys and maybe learn how to cook.
Be cooked for.
Yeah. And I mean, Steve, you and I have bonded over everything from sports betting to tennis to video games and fishing. I mean,
High School Musicals, acapella.
Right. And then Libby knows you from school, and you're what, 3-4 years younger than me? You're younger than her, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, in no normal situation do we become friends other than the fact that your brother is way closer to my age and then moved away and can go away.
Yeah.
Since you guys don't have creative day-to-day jobs, what are your main creative outlets? Obviously, cooking is one of them, which is why we're talking about it. But what else do you guys do to kind of decompress after work and, you know, get those creative juices flowing?
Yeah, I love to watch YouTube and cooking channels. That's like probably my main source of entertainment, is just like clicking on YouTube and seeing like, okay, which one of my foodies uploaded a cooking video? Like, we're talking Babish or Mikey Chen, and or even just like home cooks like me and Steve, like what I eat in a day, just to get like new recipe ideas.
You mentioned Babish. We love Hot Ones. I got her into it, and Sean Evans is just a great host. He asks such good questions, and a lot of the inspiration for me to want to do a podcast is just Sean Evans. And obviously I'm bald and have a beard, and I guess I look like him, but it's just the presentation of a show like that, not to mention how genius it is to just have a laid back question answer format when you're eating something that's just going to cause physical pain. Yeah. And everyone always gives so much credit to that show just being a great idea, but also just how they seem to put it on. But my new obsession from First We Feast is Snacked. It's one of my favorite new short format videos because they're like 6 or 7 minutes, and they just have famous people like, what do you eat for snacks? What's your favorite snack? And I just introduced it to her within the last couple of weeks. I think Steve-O was one of the most recent episodes, and he's just eating Butterfingers and I think
wait,
Reese's
what's
Cups.
Babish?
We haven't actually watched a lot of it.
Yeah,
I've seen it.
Kind of looks like Christian. You know, he's also bald.
Okay.
Yeah, that's one that we need.
Sorry,
to dive
I
into
literally
more.
know nothing about the cooking world, so
Yeah,
We're learning.
I think the new wave of cooking, like a lot of people, I mean, with social media too, people like the short and dirty, sweet and simple.
TikTok. I mean,
it used to be
for
Pinterest.
I honestly get a lot of recipes from TikTok.
Everyone used to be obsessed with Pinterest and finding buffalo dip recipes and stuff like that. And now it's TikTok pasta and things that are taking a little bit more time and a little bit more effort, which I appreciate. But she'll send me, I swear to you guys, she has sent me the same cracked chicken recipe probably 7 times.
Because we need to try it.
And we still have never tried it. But they make it look easy. And we'll get to that. But let's go back to the main question before I took this
Sorry.
to a whole different path. You talked a lot about YouTube. Steve, what do you do in your free time that kind of lets you forget about your day-to-day woes?
Oh man, anything but work sometimes. Just anything from my hobbies and sports. Like I like to play tennis. I've really recently really gotten into pickleball. That's just like a booming sport.
It's old
happening
people
around.
tennis.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's just a perfect blend between table tennis and tennis. And if you like that, you're gonna like pickleball. I mean, coming from tennis, I thought that was kind of dumb and lame, but eventually I hopped on that board and I play like 3 times a week now. So it's pretty fun. I was really into sports betting when it really came legal in our state. It just made sports way more interesting. I know Tyler could care less, and she sat through a lot of my screaming.
Yeah.
I think every guy that sports
And then
bet,
like telling
really-
me how much you bet and what you could win and not win. I don't care.
In through one ear, out the other.
Yeah, right?
I mean, to Steve's defense.
I should have just been like, text Steve, please, because I don't care.
Oh, trust me, we do.
yeah,
And to anyone who doesn't know the sports betting world, think of fantasy football, but you can bet on anything. And
anything.
I don't even know like what fantasy football is. Like what like he was talking about some freaking boxing, whatever, and I'm like, what NBA team is that? Or what NBA are you watching? And he's like, what?
I mean, you can bet on anything from UFC fights to say, okay, I don't think anyone's going to get knocked out, or somebody is going to get knocked out, or you can bet on basketball and say,
Yeah,
I think
and
this
then-
team's going to win by 10 or more
And
points.
then you talk about all these free bets and how you can get money for literally nothing. I'm like, is that really how it works? Or are you just lying to me?
No, so there are promotions through a lot of the sports books that are pretty much like giving you a gift card. Let's put it that way. And it's like going to Target and spending $25 to get a $5 gift card. That's exactly what this is. And they do promos to get people hooked and say, okay, we're going to give you $20 for free, so you spend $50 or something, or we'll give you a free
Whatever,
jersey.
you gotta tell yourself, man.
Well,
I mean, yeah, I agree. I think it's no different than a credit card giving you an intro offer, to spend like
That's a
$1,500
great
to give
analogy.
you $100 credit.
I know. I just really like to give him shit about it.
I have
so.
scaled way back on sports betting because
It's all you talked about one summer. And
Last
then
summer.
And then we'd have to go to Prairie Meadows and
cash out, and then the
Yeah.
legal,
Oh, I've been there too.
the laws changed, and it's
I
We've gotten into some nasty fights about it.
yeah. I mean,
I
ultimately,
just sit in the car.
I've decided that I can put my money elsewhere. I still
Yeah.
will do it occasionally, but I put
Yeah.
more of it into crypto and stuff instead, where hopefully
That's
I
a
can,
whole other topic.
hopefully I can at least get a return someday. But
Yeah.
it's obviously gonna be in waves, and
Yeah.
right now it's not doing so great. But that's how this works.
I think the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen back to sports betting is I remember, I think it was the year that a couple years, it was when the Chiefs and the 49ers played in the Super Bowl. And I saw one of the most ridiculous prop bets, which if you guys don't know, prop bets are just like random outcome type of bets that, like it could be ridiculous. Like
Heads or tails for the
specifically-
coin toss.
Yeah. Specifically though, what I saw was like Andy Reid, who's the head coach of the Chiefs, will he eat a cheeseburger after they win or not? Just some ridiculous sounding bets. And like someone's out there betting it if it's a bet.
Yeah, some of the most popular ones are the coin toss. What color is the Gatorade that they dump on the winning coach?
Yeah.
How long does the national anthem take? Is it over or under 2 minutes?
Yeah.
There's all sorts of bets that people have made this way more fun. And sometimes I don't care if the Bengals are playing
Way more fun, but then
the
you lose like
Rams.
$10 on a stupid national anthem bet.
but it's the thrill of it. It's no different than
know.
going to watch horses race and
That sounds like addiction.
borderline. Before Libby,
It's the only way you can justify making the national anthem, like at the Super Bowl, for example, really exciting. You just
Sure.
sit and you just like hold that note longer.
yeah. For real though, and
Yeah.
we can change the topic before Libby leaves me. So, first of all, I want to thank you guys for watching the podcast. And I love to have our friends send us messages or something and say, hey, I just watched your episode, or
And giving feedback.
and giving feedback if it's good or bad. And it's the only way that this is going to get better. We've been talking to you guys for a while about trying to get an episode going, and it's fun to have support from friends. It's fun to get to turn around and support friends and promote them. And it's just fun to talk to friends.
He said friends like 20 times.
Friends. where do you guys go to find inspiration to cook? More specifically, where do you go to find your recipes? And you said you watch a lot of it on YouTube for entertainment's sake. So I think that's the new version of the Food Network. You also mentioned that. So go ahead and give us a couple places maybe to go look if we wanted to go find a new recipe for supper tomorrow.
Yeah. Instagram's good. I really like to watch reels. It's pretty much just TikToks.
Yeah, she sends me like 5 a day.
Yeah, honestly,
So
like I've been really liking cookbooks lately, like stemming from having my face shoved into a screen all the time and then having to keep looking and scrolling and where was I and all of the I want cookbooks instead. And so I got a few, they were on sale at Target and it's been great. I've been really liking. Yeah, you want to grab both of them?
And they make great decor in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Yeah. My best friend Carson got me this Gwyneth Paltrow cookbook for Christmas. And this is a kind of like a cleanse, clean eating cookbook, which is nice because I like to switch things up and not eat the same thing all the time. And then like once we get tired of eating healthy, that's when we'll cook out, or that's when we'll like get the, a Joshua Weissman cookbook where it's not healthy at all.
We would need that one every night.
He was just on Snacked. I don't know who he is.
I love him. He's in his videos. He'll be like, if you do not dice your onions small enough, Papa given no keys.
He just got super dry humor.
He calls himself Papa, and he gives his audience kisses.
Yeah,
I love that.
you gotta watch one of his videos to understand his personality. It's definitely a little eccentric, but he knows cooking really well, and even his book's kind of crude.
But like if I want something really quick and easy, like you were saying, the cracked chicken, Pinterest is really easy to go to when you're just like, okay, I want something easy, basic, simple to the point, like banana bread or, Yeah.
I know we just got introduced to Half-Baked Harvest, but we have the cookbook, Tegan Garden.
That's who I was just
Everybody
trying to find.
keeps talking about that.
We had the creative on an episode or two ago, and they mentioned them.
We hardly did any research on who they were, and I just bought the cookbook because it was on sale at Target.
Target had the deals.
Yeah. I was just like, you know what? This is a perfect opportunity and the photography, the food, like, oh my gosh, I wish I knew how to take pictures like that.
Yeah, I would love to get into
it's pretty cool.
food photography.
That is one we need. We don't own very many cookbooks.
We have like the Magnolia one,
we have that.
Teigen.
We have like the home recipes, like your very basic cookbook. It's like the red and white plaid cover, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Home cooks,
generic looking.
No, it's crap. Home Goods? No, not Home Goods.
I don't know, like everybody has in their kitchen.
Yeah.
And then
Better Home.
Maybe. And then my family we have a family cookbook. So it is super thick. It's like this.
It's like a scrapbook with the recipes.
Yeah.
That's funny you mentioned that because working in physical therapy, I talk about my passion with cooking. And one of my patients, she gave me her family cookbook. We've kind of looked through the recipe and it's pretty interesting. I mean, it's really basic kind of stuff, but it's just all like family recipes that they did.
Yeah.
So, and I've tried a few of them, and
ours are pretty I guess we've never tried anything beyond the basic ones,
right.
But ours goes back a couple generations. Like my grandma's parents is as far back as it goes, and we have like on whoever's recipe it is, it's like a scrapbook. It has pictures of them, and then we have it in order of like appetizers, desserts, yada yada. But it's fun to go through and try things from that.
You mentioned using or talking about your love for food with your patients. How is that? To me, food is one of those things, just like music or anything else, that it transports you immediately back to your grandparents' kitchen on Thanksgiving or something. So how do people respond to that when you start to talk about that? Or even, like you said, your family and your culture has such a strong bond around food. So how do other people respond to that when maybe they are older?
Yeah, I think it kind of depends on the style of cooking. I mean, I guess with my cultural background, the Chinese food that most people, I mean, in general here in Iowa are not familiar with just because of lack of diversification. I guess around here, most people are familiarized with the Western kind of Chinese cooking, like Panda Express, Hai Chai, you know,
Who hot?
Hu Hot, yeah, Hu Hot.
That's Libby's
So it's a little
obsession.
different, but I can appreciate the Western Chinese food, like orange chicken, for example. That's not Chinese food, but it was created by Panda Express.
I have had real Chinese food. My sister had a Chinese roommate in college, and they were close, and so she would she didn't want to go back to China over breaks and stuff, and so she'd always stay with us and always cook us meals. Had some very interesting things,
Yeah.
very different from the Chinese food I was used to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I was wondering.
I'd say it's a lot more spice based, and it's not your typical like sweet, sour, or salt.
And I just remember, maybe you know what they are, I don't know, but I was probably 7th grade when this was happening, 7th or 8th grade. So forgive me if I say anything wrong, but I just remember one night she cooked us she called it her dessert. I don't know if she like boiled them or what, but they're like these white balls.
Mm-hmm.
And
we
they're
already
like
know what it is.
mushy. And it was like
mochi.
I don't know, man, but I about threw up. Oh my gosh.
Was there filling inside though?
Yes, there was stuff on the inside.
Is it like dark?
Yeah.
It was probably red bean.
What?
It was probably red bean, like what your dad has on New Year's.
Could be, yeah.
I don't know, but I had never, ever had anything like that, and I'm like a texture person, so it was a bad experience.
Yeah, what is that soup called? What is it called?
It's called tongue yin.
So I'm guessing those are like little rice balls. We've made them with his dad before. So it's pretty much just like a glutinous rice flour, and you mix water with it and you knead it a whole bunch. And for Chinese New Year, you'll put like natural food coloring in it. I think his dad uses like some sort of a rose extract or something, and you color it pink. But
I just remember it like looking and like feeling like if you were eating an eyeball or something.
Yeah.
I don't know, but
thing a lot with Asian cooking is there's so many different textures and so many different like boiling and braising and
just different techniques.
Yeah.
So it tastes different and different spices too.
Everything here is either grilled or smoked. So
yeah, so that was my first experience. I've had other experiences beyond that, and it does get better. So.
Yeah. Yeah. But back to your question about like people I relate to, like with my patients. I mean, a lot of them, being in the older generation, have similar backgrounds of cooking. Like, for example, like a shepherd's pie or something. And so I can appreciate that. I mean, we've done some old-fashioned recipes and things like that. A lot of casseroles, so I can relate to that. And I mean, it's just comfort food, really.
Yeah.
I mean, who doesn't like that? So
I want to talk a little bit about your guys' Instagram pages, because you each have your own. Tyler, you have Tyler Cooks Food. Steve, you have Palatable Nosh. You don't seem to post very much. You only have like 35 posts.
Don't get after him.
But
it's true.
Tyler
social media is hard, okay?
It is.
It is.
But Tyler has over 930 posts, so it's not that hard.
Yeah.
She's also probably been doing it longer than Steve, though, right?
Yeah. Well, and actually, like my food Instagram, it used to not necessarily be a cooking, like, let me share this. It actually started off as a weight loss journey Instagram.
First of all, I just want to say that the plating and the presentation that you do to present it on Instagram is awesome. And it's just, to me, that's where the creativity really comes in. I mean, I don't necessarily believe that anybody can follow a recipe to make something. I think it takes a little bit more than that. Not that it is magic and you're throwing in pinches of snips and snails and puppy dog tails.
And MSG.
Right. But the creativity comes from, like you said, making things from scratch, or not following a recipe and taking it that step further to maybe make it taste better, or, it's just when
presentation matters.
Every movie, when somebody takes a little spoonful of the sauce or the soup and they're like, needs a little bit more salt. It's that moment of figuring it out. So maybe tell us a little bit how you've figured out how to make that better, or how to make the presentation go the step further, especially for social media.
Yeah, so a lot of the times I will kind of like get inspiration just from food posts. Like, let me go see how they like what kind of plate they used. Or I was even thinking about like getting a couple of just, like one plate that's black, so then I can serve something light on it, like those jicama tacos, so then you can see them a little better. But and like in the cookbook, I'll kind of like try and pose the food the way that it. And we were just watching this video, Farnham on YouTube, More Seasoning. He uses this huge guacamole bowl, and then he like is like, the camera lies or something like this and turns the camera back, and the whole bowl is empty, and there's just like two worth of avocados at the front, and the bowl is like massive.
It kind of reminds me of, I don't know if I can't remember if it was like a TV show or a video, but it's like how food advertisement is, and how like they'll use like glue and things like that just to make it look appealing.
I think there's a law that anything for a food commercial has to be edible, but it has to be, it's ice cream is usually mashed potatoes and things like that can have that texture, but it can be more solidified. That is something 100% I would love to get into. I want to get more into product photography and more portrait photography, but I don't want to do weddings and stuff. So I swear
take pictures of food.
I swear to you, when we move, I'm going to do a YouTube channel with at least one of you guys. And I think it should be called Cooking with Kimchi because of your cat. And then your cat can be like your little spokesperson. And I think it'd be so cool. And I think it would be something fun. And I hope anyone listening goes and follows your page. At least Tyler. Sorry, Steve. Unless Steve starts to post. But
mine's pretty dry.
The amount of things you post that I don't even know what they are blows my mind.
There's a lot of that.
And we're both relatively picky. Libby's a major texture eater.
I'm not picky about, like, I'll eat anything, but the texture is what always throws me off.
But for something like pudding, she won't eat pudding. I want to go back to, like you said, that you started the page for a weight loss journey, because to me, people learn to cook for one of two main reasons, or at least I think it's one of two main reasons: to get healthy, or to save money from going out to eat and ordering DoorDash and stuff. And we're kind of in the middle of that for both. And no one likes to go to the grocery store and spend $300 on groceries when you're like, man, this is only for 2 weeks. Like, what did we buy? And at the same time, you order DoorDash and it's $30 to $40 a night.
And then your $300 groceries all go to waste.
So then you really spent like $600 on food in the last 3 weeks. And we go in these spurts of really cooking a lot and loving what we're making. And even if it's a bad home cooked meal, it's better than a lot of fast food or a lot of,
but then we get on kicks where all we do is DoorDash or pick up something.
Like, you know what? Pizza sounds good. And instead of going to buy the stuff to make pizza, we order the easy option and, have the unhealthy food. But
I will say, though, my cooking journey has never been to necessarily lose weight or save money. Growing up, that's what my mom did, and that's what was normal. We never ate out. So eating out now and eating out then was a treat. So naturally, when I became independent and moved out on my own, I would load my fridge up and cabinets up with groceries, and that's just what I did.
I think that's actually true for a lot of people, and I honestly wish that I grew up that way. I grew up fast food all the time. And now that's crazy. All I ever want. So
I wish I got to go to McDonald's and Burger King.
No, because now it's like I don't know what a freaking home cooked meal is.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's two different sides to that, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people, and ourselves sometimes included, when you get groceries, it feels like it adds up and stuff. But I think that's where like being intuitive with cooking and the creativity comes into play. If you have like a foundation of cooking, you tend to kind of be able to just look through the fridge and throw something together. Like she does it all the time. Like before I lived with her, I would struggle and end up I would buy like cilantro, for example, or just any herb. And I'm like, well, that was kind of pricey for just that one dish that I made, but then she thinks of a way to like blend an herb into like a sauce or something, and it'll last longer for one. And for two, just another completely different idea.
Yeah.
I kind of want to bring up this book. I got this. It's not a cookbook, but it's a pretty basic. It's called Science of Cooking, and I was just really drawn by the title and the cover, and then all the pretty pictures it has in here. But
it's shiny,
for example. But it just like goes through like just basically the science of cooking and like the basics that most people need to figure out. And I'm kind of constantly learning because I'm we're very two different types of home cooks. I mean, for one, she's got a lot more experience than I do, but number two, it was that I am more of a perfectionist type person, and so I have to follow a recipe. And if something's off, or if I can't find that one miscellaneous ingredient for something, I'm just like, oh, it's not going to be good. And where she's just like knows what can substitute, which is where that intuitive, creative cooking comes into place, and then it tastes just as good. So,
Right.
Just being open, like comparing like the science of cooking, like this book, and then also the creativity side, and being able to put two and two together. That's when you can really make some really great dishes. Like it kind of reminds me of that moment in Ratatouille, which is one of my favorite Disney Pixar movies. Of just when he's like eating the cheese and the berry or whatever with his brother and all
I
the.
just watched that for the first time, maybe 2 months ago.
Oh,
I saw it in theater.
It was one of the only Pixar movies I've never seen, and I don't know why. I think it might have been the only one I hadn't seen. So Elliot and I hung out one day. I think Libby was at a wedding or something, and it's like, you know what? I've never seen this. I'm just gonna watch it because it seems to be one of the few Pixar movies that's pretty polarizing. Whether people
There's
love
not
it
a
or
lot of
hate it.
talking in it.
I mean, it's
I
a
feel
mouse
like.
who's cooking.
Well, I know. But like when you're a young kid going to see it in a theater, it wasn't all that appealing
The mouse
to me,
knows how
to
to
be
cook. He
honest.
should also have to talk the whole time.
Yes.
Unrealistic expectations, Pixar. One more thing I want to add with that is I think as intuitive and creative as you can be, I like to think that there are a few things that you can buy to help yourself beyond cookbooks, and that's the right tools. So having a grill or something for me is a huge thing, just to be able to be outside, and it's kind of a social thing as well. But I mean, what's better than having friends over to grill and hang out outside when it's like 75 degrees and you can have a beer or something and just hang out. But then the flip side, we got a Ninja Foodie or an Instapot, and all of a sudden it kind of made us want to start to cook and try new things, or even a crock pot. Is it
Not
cheap?
really cooking, but yeah.
I would say it's still cooking.
yeah.
Did you add the ingredients and make it
No,
cook?
I just meant like sometimes we just throw frozen French fries in our air fryer.
Well,
That's not cooking.
Hey, we do it too.
They still got cooking.
No, I
air
mean-
fryer.
No, I know, but
Air fryer is another
Yeah,
great
it's-
example. You can make anything
Yeah.
in an air fryer. I've done
Oh,
steak.
yeah.
in
I
it.
mean,
very
we have-
easy, quick things for that.
Yeah. We
So-
have like some essential tools. Like I'd say we just got that 10-in-1 fryer from Target. It's just like this giant 10 functional roasting, air frying, baking, anything. And it's pretty nice. But I'd say for anybody who doesn't have an air fryer out there, you got to get one. I mean,
Yeah.
And a good knife.
and a good knife.
Yeah, we got good knives for Christmas.
Cutting boards.
Cutting boards. Yeah. I mean,
A good set of pans.
things that you have to do anyway with cooking. I mean, you don't necessarily need like a sous vide or something,
Right.
to cook. But there's some essential things that
We've lived together 6 years now.
Too long.
And
Sorry,
we
yes.
had never owned, I don't even know what they're called, but like the specific like spatula thing that you use for noodles.
A ladle?
Sure, that has like these thingies on it. We never owned one of
yeah.
those until like 2 months ago.
We never owned a ladle.
It's the spaghetti ladle that you
Yeah.
like ladle
Yeah.
the spaghetti noodles
Yeah,
through.
Yeah,
we
we,
have one.
never owned one until like 2 months ago. I bought it at Hy-Vee.
I literally had one all through college. and
No,
stuff.
man, because every time I go to cook pasta,
I'm
and
Italian.
I like
You
look
think
for,
I didn't have a...
and I look for it, I could never find it. We also never had like an apple
Yeah, because you can...
thingy.
It's like the perfect holdable
Okay,
fruit.
just
Why do you
erase
need to
all
cut
this
it?
then. I was just chatting. All right, what I want to know is, for both, you can both answer this, okay? And it cannot be a meal that either of you have cooked for each other. But what is the best meal that you have ever had that you haven't cooked? It could be at a restaurant. It could be
Ooh.
somebody
Oh,
besides each of you cooking it for each other.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
can probably, well,
Because I know mine.
I'm going to really have to think about this one.
I
I guess for me, it's
You
like
go
it depends
ahead.
on like I couldn't just put it on one dish because I'd have to break it up into like what kind of food, Like there's so many different cuisines and
How about it can also be a food destination? So maybe it could be a trip you are on, like a
Sure.
location you went to. So say you went
Okay.
to Vegas and you had the best food you've ever had in your life.
yeah. I just went to Vegas with my brother and we experienced some crazy good food. one of the most memorable experiences I've ever had, and we've gone twice now. Actually, it's the Bacchanal buffet at Caesar's Palace. It's pricey, but it's pretty good. I mean, everything is just catered. Like they put so much work. Like there's all these like, for example, the one of the best things I had there were like these little mini tostados or whatever, or street tacos, and they like just put in so much work and decorate it, and it's just like a perfectly kind of portions or serving size dish. So I guess I would say that Chicago. I mean, we've taken a few trips to Chicago in the past few years, and we obviously like to hit up Chinatown. They have some really good, authentic Chinese food. Dim sum, for example, which if you don't know what dim sum is, it's like a la carte style things, like the traditional Chinese restaurants will push around carts of just like freshly steamed. I think dim sum technically translates to like appetizers in Chinese. And so you basically just pick stuff off the cart that you want, and it's just fresh and it's delicious. So
is that like when you see the video, it's like a suitcase thing at the airport that like comes around with different food on it?
Kind of, yeah.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah,
it's a cart full of food, and they're like,
I've seen those videos. I'm like, that looks so cool.
I just like to picture like it's a train that goes around your Christmas tree, but it just got a couple plates.
You're just yoinking things off the cart.
No, or like the train that's on the table, like in Coraline with the gravy boat.
Yeah.
The gravy train.
What about you? What's the best meal you've ever had?
How about Tyler answers?
Well, I know. She said she had to think about it.
Oh. See, that's a tough one. We haven't traveled very many places.
I know my answer, and I've traveled for it.
Was it Who Hot?
No. I do love Who Hot. No shame.
We went to a place in Minneapolis. The week we got our engagement pictures taken, we were in Minneapolis for like 3 days. We went to this burger place called Red Cow. And it was just this, I'm a burger guy. I could eat burgers all day, every day. And I probably won't live long if I eat burgers all day, every day. But it was just this giant burger and had these giant onion rings on top, which I don't even love that much, but they were these super thick cut. It was just this really good, not even overly greasy burger. We went to Tulsa, Oklahoma to visit a friend and had some really good food. It was just options we don't have locally. And living in a small town, we are limited. Even kind of like you said earlier, there's not a lot of diverse food options here. And the fact that the only Chinese place we can really go to is in our grocery store. So that kind of sucks. So that's where, again, we hope to move to Des Moines. And even their list of DoorDash options is 40 times longer than it is here. So
if you can't tell, we're big DoorDashers.
We DoorDash way too much. But it gives us new options. And there are certain places that I wouldn't necessarily feel comfortable walking into let's say an Indian food restaurant, because I would have literally no idea what to order. And to have a little bit of room to step back and maybe look up what stuff is and, check out the pictures on DoorDash. And to me, that's a more accessible way to try new foods. And so that's something that I'm actually really excited to try and to maybe dive into. But I guess I don't really have a great option or a great answer as to what my favorites are. But I mean, I've been to Chicago as well. And I mean, even just to get pizza or a hot dog that's not from here, it's just different. So
it is.
That alone makes it better and a new experience.
Yeah. The best meals I've ever had have been in Guatemala.
Ooh.
Flex.
Cooked in like a shack made of,
shack
dirt
materials.
floors and
raw shack.
Stoves that we made with our own hands. Like the best meals I have ever had. I literally still think about them to this day, and I haven't been in a few years.
Except for plantains.
Yeah, I don't like plantains, but everything else, oh man. Just the spices and like everything that they put into every single thing they make. They made us some sort of like ramen dish one day. We had spaghetti one day, and it's not even like your typical, like what you think of when you think of spaghetti. It was like 100 times better. Breakfast every morning was like black beans and scrambled eggs and all the fresh fruit you could think of, which I know is pretty basic, but I don't know, man. So
But
good.
it's even just like the cultural like aspect of like how Guatemala eats. They're not sitting down at the table with some Rice Krispies for breakfast.
Yeah, no, it's all home cooked, and like they
Yeah.
take so much pride in what they're doing. And it's not even like expensive, crazy, over the top meals. There's just so much flavor.
It's that sort of farm to table feel of, everything is from the earth and everything is from their backyard type of a thing.
Like we would literally sit on the dirt floor of their homes and just eat it out of like a styrofoam plastic cup. Like so good.
Would you say is one of your most memorable foods? Or
I really like seafood just because like it's hard to get raw seafood here, and like buying at places too. Is it sketchy? Is it? But I really like the ceviche at Ceviche in Des Moines. It is so good. It's making my mouth water just thinking about it now. It is so good. Or like sushi. I really like blue sushi because
I hate seafood.
Experience.
Well, you can't have it anyway right now.
Right.
So
I know, but I have never been a fan of it.
It's always all about the experience too for me, because like drinking, having a shot of sake, and then like eating some sushi, it just makes it so much better.
Yeah.
And then me and my family went to this fancy restaurant in Florida a few years back, and I got mahi mahi with the spring salad. It was like a white balsamic vinegar spring salad. And that just like changed me. I was like, I need to figure out, because this was also the first time that I've had lettuce and like salad, because I'm just like, I hate leafy greens. Absolutely hate. You will never see me eating a bowl of salad until I mostly started dating him. I started eating more salads, romaine especially, but just that spring mix that they had. I remember hunting and going to like 3 different Walmarts and Targets and trying to find the specific type of spring mix that they had, and I just could not find it. And the fish was just phenomenal too, because you're right next to the fresh water. So
I know you guys went to Seattle together. Did you do a lot of seafood there?
A little.
We did the Seattle Food Week with my brother, and we had some. I mean, it was I think it was my first experience ever having fresh oysters, and I mean they're raw, and I was a little nervous about it first, but I'm like, I looked at the price, I'm like, it better be fresh.
Yeah.
But we all took an oyster, and I mean I thought it was delicious.
Mm-hmm.
It was, I mean, if you're a texture freak, you probably wouldn't like it, but if you can appreciate the flavor, I mean, it's
That's
amazing.
why I can't eat seafood.
Yeah. Seafood's got a lot of like mushier textures, so to speak, but
Like I could do some fried fish sticks.
And that's what we also did too. We got fish and chips in Seattle.
Yeah.
That was really good.
Yeah. Like a fried fish.
Yeah. But I mean, even like my brother and I used to do a lot more fishing, ice fishing mainly, and just like being able to just pull out like a fresh walleye off the lake or something, and then frying it within like 12 hours. It just tastes so good.
Yeah.
I mean, just small things like that, even that you can do in the Midwest. So
Fried catfish for breakfast that your dad just caught on the lake while you're fishing. Yes, sir.
Overall,
So good.
Overall, are you guys pretty adventurous eaters? Will you try new foods, or do you know what you like and you think that's about it?
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I always said that. I mean, more lately, I guess, because I used to grow up really a huge picky eater, but I mean, as I grew older, I always said I'm willing to try something once.
Yeah. Well, and I think Tyler's page could answer that question.
Well, yeah, but I didn't know if there were certain things that. Is there anything that you mentioned salad previously, but is there any foods that are just completely off limits? So you've had them, you hate them.
Tomatoes.
Raw.
Really?
She doesn't like raw
Like a
tomatoes.
Okay, yeah,
Tomato,
same.
like on a burger. Oh no, Steve.
Like the idea of
take that
Tyler.
thing. That's gross.
Like the idea of Tyler biting into just like a fresh garden tomato.
Yeah,
like an
no,
apple. Dude,
I'm
it's
with
like-
you. But like
Yeah.
cooked tomatoes, like in a sauce or something, I can
Yes.
handle. Isn't that
Well, yeah.
crazy?
Mhm. I love it. I love spaghetti, tomato soup. I will drink ketchup. I love ketchup.
That's crazy, but you won't bite into a tomato.
Steve, what about you?
No.
For me growing up, the biggest thing I didn't really like, and I've learned to appreciate it more, are mushrooms.
Oh,
And to me, it was more of a texture thing. I mean, I'm usually not picky, at least anymore, but maybe it's just the way my mom, just dumped a can mushrooms into the spaghetti, and I just picked them all out.
Yeah.
But again, like once I met Tyler and she prepared it differently, it changed the way I look at things, and then different types of mushrooms too. So
Yeah,
that makes a huge difference.
My mom, like my family would go like mushroom hunting in the woods, and they're like the
Morels.
Yeah.
and just the smell of them made me want to. Oh my gosh, no!
And it's so funny because those are like a freaking delicacy too.
People pay top dollar.
Yes.
For that.
Yeah.
Oh, horrible! She just fry them in butter and salt.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
I've yet to try that, but I try it, so I'll have to maybe do that.
The idea of mushrooms is definitely something for me that I hate, but I love to learn about mushrooms, and that's something that more recently I've really, really liked, and I'd love to learn more about.
Psychedelics.
Well, not even just psychedelics, but the medicinal purposes of mushrooms and stuff is absurd. And
a
lot of people say it's kind of the next thing.
Coffee.
Yeah, yep. And I mean, you can get capsules that are like certain parts of mushroom, and there's a lot of studies going on with it as psychedelics for treatments, and even things kind of in the same realm as like weed for, anxiety and depression and PTSD. And there's a couple of really great podcasts that I've listened to that I really liked. And if you don't know anything about mushrooms, just take 5 minutes to Google it, because just look up fun facts about mushrooms and you will blow your own mind without doing psychedelics.
I can't stand bananas. The smell, the taste, the texture.
Which is a weird one to me.
It's understandable for me. My sister grew up hating bananas.
Like, I literally can't stand them. He'll occasionally get them from the grocery store, but
I
not
like
very
bananas.
often because he knows I hate them. And whenever they're here, I just have to like steer clear.
Or I forget we have them and then they're
But I eat
brown
I like banana bread.
Good, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
but
what
not
makes banana bread.
bananas. So weird.
But no banana pudding for Libby.
No.
What is the weirdest food you've ever tried?
Oh gosh, probably like octopus.
Me too. Joe's Crab Shack.
That's not weird to me though, because I grew up eating that. I mean, my parents have eaten some weird things.
Okay, you can't tell me that you grew up eating octopus and liked it.
I didn't really like it growing up, but I've learned to like it more now. Just depends on how it's cooked. For me, I would say at my dinner table, my parents would cook chicken feet.
Mm-hmm.
Tyler actually liked it the first time she
Yeah,
tried
I
it.
love chicken feet.
Yeah, it's really it's got a lot of cartilage in it. There's not really meat on it, but there's a lot of flavor.
Libby,
in it,
I
so.
feel like you're getting uncomfortable right now.
She's like, I'm pregnant. I'm probably
No,
going to
well,
puke.
no. I'm sitting here thinking about what my grandpa used to eat. Pickled herring.
Yeah, as I say.
Uh-huh.
She can get down for
I
that.
love pickled herring.
no.
What's it called? What's it called?
No.
Luda
I have some right. I have some right now. It's pickled fish.
Stop. Don't
Oh,
even
wow.
show it
Lutefisk.
to me.
Yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
what it was.
He would have it at every holiday meal, and it would always touch my feta because we'd have
He's
like,
real
you know,
funky
like
now.
a veggie tray type of thing. And we'd always put it in one of the little sections, and it always the juice always leaked into the feta. Oh gosh, no.
All right, one more question. Is there any food you're dying to try?
Hmm.
Like, do you have a food bucket list?
Or a restaurant bucket list? That's a fun question too.
Oh yeah, I've been wanting to dive into more of African food, and I really want to try fufu.
What's that?
I think it's made out of some sort of sweet potato or some sort of potato, but it's kind of like this is probably something that I hate, a term that I hate that people use for cooking and eating. People call it a vehicle to get into your mouth. Like rice or a tortilla, or you know what I mean? I hate when people refer to it as a vehicle, but it's the only thing that I can think of right now. It makes me cringe so much, but that's essentially what it is. It's like this mushy ball, and it's pretty much made traditionally. You are not supposed to chew it. You're supposed to just mix it with what you're eating. So if you could imagine kind of like what curry looks like, it's like you have your white, starchy, carby, and then you have like your spicy dish. That's something that I really want to try.
Steve?
It's something I've had, but I haven't had like how it's supposed to be prepared. I've been wanting to experience like a true lobster roll, like from the New England area, or like clam chowder up there. I've had good clam chowder around here, but like I guess I talked to a patient who was from Maine, and he was like, a true clam chowder is supposed to be more like liquidy, and a lot of what I'm used to and a lot of people around here, it's really milk and cream based. Or I'm just picturing like the Campbell's,
Yeah.
Campbell's clam chowder. But that and like a true lobster roll. Like I just imagine just like a really succulent, buttery
Yep.
sandwich. So
I
What
want to
about
try.
you?
I want to try real crayfish. So Libby's gonna think this is weird, but there's a YouTuber that I watch. His name is Brody Moss. He is in Australia, and he does a lot of catch and cooks and stuff like that. And I've had walleye, and I've had some like regional fish from around here, but I've never liked seafood because I've never had real seafood. And I think when it's straight out of the water and is cooked properly, it probably is way more chicken-like, which is again why people always say it tastes like chicken. So I would love to try something like that, but I don't think I could ever do squid or octopus or anything weird like that.
I bet you could if it was like fried.
yeah, I was just about to say if you deep fry it.
Calamari.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
I had fried octopus and didn't even know that's what it was until after the fact.
Do you like it?
I don't know. I was young.
that happened to me with
I
deer.
just remember them telling me it was like an appetizer basket of fried stuff, so we just dug in.
Yeah, I remember being little. We were in a wedding, and the next morning, the people we were staying with made breakfast, and they had deer sausage. And I remember eating it, like, wow, this is really good. And they're like, it's made out of deer. I was like, what? And I remember feeling so sick in that moment, but it was good. Like I love deer jerky, and deer's great. But yeah, I had a similar experience like that. We are gonna do a little quick back and forth, just some yes or no answers. They may not be yes or no, but quick response as we wrap
Rapid
this up.
fire.
Yes, that's exactly what I meant. Are you guys big snackers?
Yes.
Yes.
Would you ever open your own restaurant?
No.
I wouldn't. A food truck. I've talked to her about a food truck.
Not me.
I think-
He might. Not me.
Steve, let's go into business together.
Oh, hard business to be in, I
Yeah.
feel like.
I'll make the recipes. Y'all can cook
Me,
it.
Christian, food truck, and Kimchi, my cat.
Yes,
That would actually be awesome.
the kimchi cart. But
I gotta bring him up on the podcast.
we call it
Yeah.
the kimchi cart. But
So
we just
if
make,
you
like,
aren't
grilled
paying
cheese.
attention, or if you aren't watching the video, they have a cat named Kimchi, and he's showing him right now.
And it will be the mascot of Steve and Tyler's cooking show or YouTube channel, whatever. Sweet or savory snacks or food?
Savory.
Savory for sure.
Me too.
Is a hot dog a sandwich?
No. Wait, hot dog or sandwich?
Is
Is
a
it
hot dog
Oh.
a sandwich?
No.
I would say so. I mean, it's bread and filling. I
Yep.
mean,
I love a good hot dog.
Me too.
Can't eat them right now, but man, I love them.
Is cereal soup?
No.
The hell kind of question is that?
What?
I can see what you're getting at.
Why isn't
I mean,
it?
It's
I guess
cold.
you'd have
We
to
have cold soups. Isn't gazpacho
Yeah.
cold?
gazpacho. Yeah.
Never heard of it.
Yeah,
Doesn't
see.
count.
Cold vegetable
Cereal
soup.
is soup.
No.
Yeah.
Does pineapple belong on pizza?
Yes.
Yes.
Hell yes.
What's the
His
best thing
was-
you can cook?
His was Greek salad
Mm.
or Greek bowl, like a Greek bowl with quinoa
Yeah.
and all that.
My favorite, though, personally cooking, I did a lot of kung pao chicken from scratch. I liked just throwing in. It's pretty simple. It's just stir frying, but just so many different things in there. So
You can't screw it up.
yeah.
I love Greek food.
Mm-hmm. It's hard to find good Greek food.
What about you?
Probably chili.
What is your go-to fast food?
We don't eat a lot of fast food, so I'll just say McDonald's.
I love McDonald's.
I
There's not a
guess
lot of
it's
options in Fort
Wendy's,
Dodge,
it's,
so
I don't know. Wendy's new fries are pretty good.
Yeah, Wendy's is tough to beat. I mean,
They are. They're-
Wendy's
I don't
was
think
our
I would
food growing
ever
up.
enjoy Wendy's outside of Fort Dodge.
I don't think that's true.
Yeah, it is. Our Wendy's is nice.
All
And
right,
It always has been.
you get to pick one snack food. Like right now, if you were just craving a snack, what's it gonna be?
Chips.
Yeah.
What kind
Specifically-
of chips?
For-
I want pickled flavored chips.
like dill pickle.
Dill pickled chips.
I like anything like kettle cooked. Just the crunch. It's too good.
We just found at Walmart. We just started shopping at Walmart, which no shame to Walmart, but we've always been Target people because he works there and Hy-Vee. But Hy-Vee is fucking expensive.
Yeah.
So we have recently switched over to Walmart, and he found Jimmy John's chips. They sell them by the big, like, family-sized bags.
So I got barbecue and regular, and they're kettle cooked, perfectly salty.
They have the best kettle cooked chips.
Ooh, Christian, I'll never forget you introduced me to Dots years back.
Oh,
the
man.
Dots pretzels. Oh.
Before they were cool.
Yeah, before they were booming.
Actually, your brother introduced them to me.
Oh.
So
they're good.
I'll take credit.
Christian's a huge snacky.
Yeah, that's the biggest.
He's got like 3 snacks on his desk right now.
Biggest and most unhealthy relationship I have with food is, one, from being a twin, like, wanting the bigger slice, let's put it that way, and 2, just snacking. And some of that is sitting in here. When I edit this, I will sit here and have something to snack on, or playing video games.
Yeah, you just had the whole weekend off, and I'd be like, "What do you want for supper?" And you'd be like, "Oh no, I'm not hungry," because he just sat and ate snacks for the last.
But like when I'm working or playing video games, I want something sweet, I want something salty, and then a Gatorade or something in here. So it's just all junk, and I know I need to just have none of it and just chew gum or something and be done with it.
We did so well.
I'm a sucker for sour candy. I just went and saw the new Batman movie, and I got like the biggest bag of the Sour Patches, and like I ended up eating the whole bag. I mean, the movie is 3 hours long, but I'm like, God, I shouldn't have eaten that whole bag.
1 bag in 3 hours, that's nothing.
Yeah. Rookie numbers.
I call that a Tuesday morning. We want to thank everyone for watching and listening. We will have another episode of Too Tired, not next week, but the following week. Next week will be an episode of Pillow Talk.
Baby clothing haul.
We'll see about that. If you're not subscribed, make sure you hit the subscribe button or follow us depending on what platform you're on. Make sure you follow us on social media.
Make sure to follow Steve and Tyler on social media.
They will be linked below.
Not Steve and Tyler from Aerosmith.
Steve and
Tyler.
And
Tyler.
Steve and Tyler.
Steve Liao and Tyler.
Dream on.
Anyway, yeah, if you want some good inspiration for some meals or anything like that, check out their pages. Every time I see something, I'm like, damn, we need to move so they can cook for us.
Yeah. And we're going to.
Thanks for
guys.
listening.